Waterworks Authority. Those Commissioner Chaco, Commissioner Santos, and Commissioner Peter Roy Martinez. Commissioner Simon Sanchez is excused. Go ahead, the floor is yours. This is a work session, I'm sorry. I misspoke. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and if you may, and if you're okay, I'll go ahead and start.
Sure. Go ahead, Tina.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Tina Garcia, Public Finance Manager at the Guam Economic Development Authority. I'm here to speak about the recent selection of a new co-managing underwriter team. GEDA issued RFP 21-008 back in August 9, 2021. The existing assignment, or the former assignment, was issued under RFP 17006 and was set to expire on September 30, 2021. The underwriting services for this new team, the term will last for 2 years to expire September 2023. However, we included 2 options to renew for an additional 2 years each. So at each 2-year point, we go ahead and review how we're doing so far. RFP was issued on August 9th with a close date of August 30th. Because of COVID, we conducted interviews via Zoom on September 8th and 9th, with each group given 25 minutes for a presentation. Upon acceptance of all the presentations, the evaluation team then got to work on reviewing proposals. The evaluation team for this group included Miguel Regalio, GWA General Manager, Colin Tattoo, GWA Chief Financial Officer, Fiona Mockness, GWA Assistant Chief Financial Officer, Lester Carlson, Budget and Management Research Director, Julia Espaldona, GEDA Board Vice Chairman, Joanne Camacho, GEDA Deputy Administrator, and myself as the Public Finance Manager. After hearing the presentations from the 6 firms that submitted proposals, we conducted the evaluation and we selected, the selection was allowing for 2 co-managing underwriters for GWA bond issues. After the evaluation and review, the team recommended the selection of Citigroup Global Markets and RBC Capital Markets to serve as co-managing underwriter teams for the Guam Waterworks Authority's bond financing projects, and this would be for the chairman's lunch review. We had submitted this to our GEDA board on September 16th for their review and approval, which they did so on that day. I'd like to pause for a moment and see if the board had any question about the evaluation process itself.
Board members? Yeah.
Tina, I think just for the purposes of this particular meeting, since a decision has already been made, and we have other items on our agenda, can we just get the introductions? And I think that our discussion was we will revert back to the proposed agenda that was sent by Stephen Fields, because it was quite lengthy. I believe that he had additional 6 items.
Okay.
What the purpose really, and I think we discussed that, was for GEDA to introduce specifically to the CCU members, because we did not take part in any of the discussions for this particular issue. So I do have one question though, with respect to the option years, who makes that decision?
We would coordinate that decision with yourself and your management team.
No, but
prior to the expiration.
Okay, maybe I'll make myself clear. That decision is going to be decided by GEDA and not the CCU and GWA management, right?
Absolutely. No, sir. We would speak with you and the GWA management to confirm moving forward with the selection prior to that. And again, because the procurement process can take up to 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the timing. We want to make sure we come back to you at least 2 months ahead of time to to affirm the, what we'd like to be looking at in the 2-year term. So prior to the first expiration, we come back. So with that, I go ahead and, first I'd like to start with the introduction of Stephen Fields from the city management team. He represents city as the lead for his group. And then afterwards, I'll introduce Greg Dolly. I'll start with you, Stephen.
Sure. Thank you, Tina, and Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Santos, Commissioner Martinez, and others in the room. Thank you for the time this morning. We're very fortunate to be a part of the underwriting team again. I'll just quickly introduce the folks on this call from the city team. In addition to myself, most of you know, or I think everybody knows my colleague Tim Radigan. Tim, I think you know my colleague.
Steven says it's bad for business if I'm on my video all the time. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Tim and I are responsible for all of Guam coverage across all different issuing entities and work very closely together now, so for over 10 years. In addition to Tim and myself, also we have our colleague Cameron Parks. Cameron is the managing director in our Los Angeles office and runs City's national water practice. Cameron has works with issuers across the country and does financing very similar to what GWA does, and that brings a wealth of knowledge to our team. In addition, we have two of our other colleagues also based in Los Angeles, Roshan Pai, who many of you probably recognize from prior work with GWA in Guam, and the newest addition to our team, Lisa Smolik, who's also based in Los Angeles. So I know time is short this morning, so happy to answer any other questions. But again, just wanted to thank everybody for the opportunity, and we're really excited to continue working with GWA.
Thank you, Stephen.
Okay, and now I'd like to introduce Mr. Greg Dolly, and he represents the firm of RBC Capital Markets. Greg, go ahead and introduce yourself and your team.
Thank you, Tina. I appreciate the opportunity to present our team today. My history, I've worked with the CCU in the past on GPA financing, so it's not my first time. So I understand the processes and how things work and how the governmental structure works for these type of transactions. So we appreciate the chance to work on GWA. I'm based in Los Angeles, and I'm the primary person for RBC to cover Guam. My colleagues on the video, I see Corey Marty. Corey is based in Los Angeles. Corey is the vice president and works on a lot of our technical analysis and credit analysis. We have Tim Williams on the platform. Tim is based in New York, and Tim is kind of our water practice nationwide, and is part of the interview process we had a couple weeks ago. And we have an analyst who's based in San Francisco, Kevin Clemson-Dorf also. So that's our team that's on today. Thank you for the opportunity. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Kevin, you mentioned you did some work with Guam Power Authority back, how many years ago was that?
Greg.
Greg.
It was during the period of 2008 to 2012. It was the 2010 financing and the 2012 financing.
Okay, thank you.
With that, thank you, City and RBC, for joining us today. I now open the floor to the members of the CCU board to see if you have any questions in particular, or if you want to wrap up for now.
I guess we just have to decide when we want to go forward.
Yeah,
Urgent need to
no.
on your side? Yep.
No, I don't think there's anything urgent. I think the agenda touches on several items that we're working on that
Already.
would have an impact on future financings, but there isn't a rush to discuss them, so we can set another meeting at the board's leisure.
Okay. Thank you very much. We appreciate the fact, Tina, that we're able to meet these people again. Of course, the city people we know quite well. We have a long history with them. I've been on the commission since 2009, so I know city. They've been with us since 2009, many years. So thank you very much. At least we get a chance to meet them. I look forward to working with RBC, and it'll be a new experience for me. I don't remember working with them back when I was here in 2009. So the 2010, 2012 issuance for GPA, I was involved in, but I don't remember their participation. But, you know, we'll look forward to working with them.
Mr. Jamie, do you plan on a visit to Guam soon, or
Oh, yeah.
the last quarter of 2021?
You take that, Mr. Greg, I've been out to Guam many times in my career, and I'm happy to come out and meet people in person when that makes sense for everyone.
Yeah, that might be good. That might work well, Greg. You know, like I said, I don't remember meeting you back in 2010, 2012, and we may have met, but I was new to the commission at the time. So it'd be good, I think, to come back out and get a feel for Guam. We've changed. The GWA today is very different from the GWA back in 2009 when I started. It's even greatly different from the GWA of 4 years ago. So it would be good for you to come back out and see where we're at. Okay?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'd like to thank the Commission, CCU Board for allowing us this opportunity and for, again, accommodating this early hour. And, yes, we'll definitely schedule with Miguel our next, meeting to discuss the opportunities for GWA and all the other issues that is on the table today. So, thank you, sir, and, you know, if anything else, please just drop us a note.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Tina.
Tina.
Thank you, have a great day.
Okay.
Thank you. And unless folks need the line open, I'll just close the Zoom line. I'm happy to leave it open if folks need that, but I can go ahead and close that.
You can close it out,
You
Stephen.
can close
Thank
it.
you.
Great, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, have a great day, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Okay. Okay, Miguel, the floor is yours. You have issues to talk about?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have 4 issues for decision. The first is Resolution 01 FY 2022, and this is seeking the board's approval to establish a position for plant instrument tech supervisor at GWA. We've had the instrumentation technician series for quite some time. However, historically, they have been placed under electrical maintenance, so the electrician supervisor has kind of been the managing or supervising position. However, moving forward, especially as we try to further develop and enhance our SCADA systems, we felt that there was a need to have a dedicated supervisor specifically for instrumentation technicians and SCADA system instrumentation to round out our abilities in this area and to promote further growth within that series of positions as will be needed as we move forward. So we are seeking to establish this supervisor position, and then we may undertake in the future amendments to the Instrument Tech series to more tailor it towards our SCADA system as we move forward. So the position has been created, the draft documents are attached, and we do intend to post this position and recruit to fill it as soon as we can, once the board is approved.
Okay, can you tell us how many levels of technician here?
Currently, in the series, I think we have SCADA technician, instrument technician 1, 2, and instrument tech leader positions, but we don't have a supervisor position.
Miguel, what is the salary differential between a technical leader and the supervisor position?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, I don't know that off the top of my head.
Percentage-wise? Is it significant?
It's, well, for the people holding the position, I'm sure it would be significant.
Right.
But it's not out of line with the the difference between the leader and the supervisor is not out of line with that difference in other series. For example, the electrician, leader and electrician.
I want to bring us that information Tuesday.
Sure.
And will is it assumed that the current leader would be promoted into this position, or would it just be an open ad position? They open up the
We would
position?
probably open it, but I'm not, in addition to what we have currently on board, there is a need for additional personnel.
Mhm.
So we would, especially with some of the projects that we have coming up, and so we would seek to add personnel and not necessarily bring up through the ranks.
Hire within?
But it will be open, and anybody who is currently employed can apply for it, and if they are the most qualified, then we will promote
Okay.
them.
And how many current technician leads do we have employed?
I think we have two, if I'm not
2.
mistaken.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
That's correct. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next issue for decision is Resolution 02 FY22. And this is in relation to a change order for our groundwater production meter replacement project. This project was awarded pre-pandemic. I want to say that the end of 2019. And the original scope of design for this project included 60 production wells. And the goal of the project was to reconstruct the discharge piping and flow metering configuration at each of these wells in order to improve accuracy. The existing condition prior to implementation of this project was such that there are recommendations for the amount of distance between the flow meter and the clear length of piping so that you get accurate measurement. The way our wells were initially constructed was very compact, and so those standards weren't being met. And so this was necessary in order to correct installations that weren't providing us with accurate production metering data. And the whole concept was in line with improving our water loss production numbers and also refining our water audit data so that we can get a better handle on water loss. So it's part of our water loss control program. When we initially put this project out to bid, we anticipated that there might not be sufficient funding at the time. And so the bid documents were structured to allow for a base bid of 30 wells and then additive bid items. And the bid documents were also very clear that we intended to award what we could afford, and then as more funding became available to add what we could to try and complete the project. So we're at the point now, the original project was awarded at, I believe, over $1 million. And the board had approved that 1.3 was the contract amount with the contingency. I think that was up to $1.4 million. And so where we are now is we're at the end of that initial base bid. Most of that work has been done, and we've asked the contractors to submit a change order proposal because we now have additional funding we can put into this. It has also since been made a priority for the public utilities to improve our water loss control and spend more money on water loss control. And so the additional 15 wells on this additive bid item would be another $741,000. And that includes, because it's been 2 years since the initial bid, the contractor has requested a price escalation, which is allowed under procurement law, only for the material costs that have increased since the onset of the pandemic because of various reasons. So that additional price escalation is around $54,000. So we are seeking approval to add this $741,000 change order to this project, and it will be bond funded.
Allows them an escalation rate, but they only applied that to the material costs? They didn't apply that to any of their labor or G&A?
That's right. It's my understanding.
And the bid was awarded when?
2019, end of 2019.
Okay.
But beginning of fiscal year 20, but pre-pandemic.
Labor costs have gone up significantly, so that's, okay. So just material costs?
That's my understanding, sir.
Okay, thanks.
The other thing I should note, we are trying to rush this because the contractor has put a sale date on his change order proposal, and so we're trying to get it processed by the end of November, maybe, I think, is the cutoff date. Board will, but because it's over the $1 million and the PUC approved the initial contract, I believe we also have a petition pending. It's already been submitted, and the ALJ has agreed to accept it with the draft petition, with the draft resolution. But when if the board approves, we will send them the approved petition, and we're hoping that the ALJ will get it on the agenda for this month's meeting, and we can get PUC action as well. Okay. Next item is Resolution 03 FY22, and this is in regard to a change order for the Ta'i Road, Kenyatta Toto Loop Waterline Replacement Project. As you know, this project was previously awarded and included significant amount of work to replace old asbestos cement pipe in these two locations. For the Kenyatta Toto Loop Road in Mamutotumaiti, there was, after the project started, there was one side road, ancillary road, that tied into this that was not included in the design. However, as we were doing the project, we discovered that there are pressure issues that will result if we don't take care of the extend the line replacement in this area. So the Tyson Road contains, I think, about 24 homes for which the meters are located close to the main road and not along the ancillary road. So it's smaller diameter piping, private lines that are running down that street. And what we're proposing is we've asked the contractor to give us a change order proposal to extend a new 6-inch line down Tyson Road to connect appropriately these 24 homes and provide additional fire hydrants along that roadway. And this will improve and alleviate pressure issues that they've been having. So it makes sense to do it now while we have the contractor in place, and there won't be excessive additional mobilization. So we've asked for a change order proposal. Our construction manager and our engineering team have looked it over and negotiated with the contractor, and they found that the cost proposal is reasonable at $558,000 to add to the change order as a change order to this project. So this will only be in the affecting the portion of the project that is in the Kenyatta Toto area. Those are, certain of them are included, but most of the replacement work is along the new main line that we're putting in. So disconnecting laterals off of the old and putting it on the newer line. No, there are various sizes. There are some that are 6 and there are some that are smaller diameter, but the length of those laterals are not causing problems. It's this one that is, this one area. If there is additional growth, there may have to be upgrades at that time, but that'll be part of whatever construction occurs. So we feel what we're doing now for the purposes of resolving the frequent breakages to this old pipe, what we designed and what is currently under contract is sufficient. But this side road was not previously identified as a problem, which is why we're trying to take care of it now that it has been identified. We redo the connections from the service taps to the main line, but we are, in this instance, I don't think we are adding any, we're not replacing every hydrant. There are some that we are replacing, but not all of them.
Yeah, I guess my concern is that when we go do something like this, I'd like to not have to come back. Exactly what you said for Tyson Road. You don't want to come back later on just to fix that one area. I get it. That's the similar problem that the homeowner up at Stumbo, who had the fourplex, is going to have.
Right.
And so when you replace that line in that area, that was our thought. You'll then put in a new line.
Exactly.
But I just want to make sure that when we go there, we're doing upgrades or we're checking on fire hydrants and replacing them as we need to.
Yes,
So
that's
we don't-
part of the survey and design activities that precede the construction.
Okay,
So
okay.
when they go out there, if the hydrants are not functioning, they are included in the design for replacements.
Okay. And you're also, I guess, replacing the valves for the hydrants?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any dry fire hydrants in this area?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, no problem. No, because I'm
More than
interested.
likely, we do, but the current hydrant replacement project is focused up north at the moment.
Okay, no problem. It's just when you come down to my area in Zonia, you have all these 6-foot-high fire hydrants. The firefighters have to get on a ladder to turn on because it's 6 feet in the air. No, it's just they're dry fire hydrants, and the valve, has to go down deep. It's crazy. Anyway, I digress. Any other questions, Commissioners? I didn't mean to take the floor and ask all the questions. Okay, next.
The last issue for decision is Resolution 04 FY 2022, and this is a request to approve contract amendment or approve funding to provide for additional task orders for an indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity project management, construction management services contract. So if you recall, when we ended the PMO contract, in order to assist us with some of the engineering and project management workload, we issued an RFP for several different disciplines of engineering services for indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity contracts to be funded on a task order basis as needed. One of those contracts was issued to Duenas Camacho and Associates for PMCM. And another one was issued to Brown and Caldwell for PMCM. This particular contract that we're seeking approval for will, the original contract amount was $750,000, and the structure of the contract is a 3-year base with 2 one-year extensions. So I think we're getting close to the 3rd year for this initial contract, but there are several projects that we need to push forward, and although we don't have the task orders finalized, we have made estimates of what each is likely to cost us, and we're looking at 5 different task order projects related to tank repairs and inspection, which is also part of our court order. Construction management for our district metered area, which is part of our water loss control program. As you know, this has been a priority for us and for the PUCs. So with the completion of the analytical study, we're set to do the implementation. We'd like not to be delayed on the implementation. And so that's a 3-year implementation, and we will need some assistance from the company moving forward. So the second task order would involve work for that. And then we also have the design of the treatment system for 823 and 825, those wells that have been impacted by PFAS. That design of that treatment system is nearing completion, and we're set to go to construction. And so we would need construction management services for that. And then as well as rehabilitation for some of our other wells, A2, A12, D5, and F3. These are slated for rehabilitation as part of our CIP. And so we would need construction management services for that, as well as construction management services for various waterline replacement projects, such as the one we are previously discussed, in other areas, of course. So based on our engineering estimates from our team, we estimate that the change orders or the task orders that we would issue for CM services for all of these projects, including a $150,000 contingency, would amount to an additional total funding of not to exceed $2 million. So we are seeking the board's approval so that we don't have to come back to you for every one of these for approval to increase the authorized funding for these task orders, which will each be individually negotiated as we move forward with implementation.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions? No? No questions? Okay, Miguel, is that the last one?
That's the last issue for decision.
Okay.
We have the management report. If it pleases the board, I could go through that, but we also do have on the schedule the executive.
Do you want to go through the management or go through the executive session? Just highlights.
Okay. So we could just go through the operations update. For September, we did have a total of 1.16 million kgals for the month of September, an average of 38.7 million gallons a day. All of the sources are essentially producing as they have been, 35.4 million gallons a day from our deep wells, 250,000 gallons a day from Santa Rita Springs, 2 million gallons a day from Ugam on average, and just under 1 million gallons a day from Tumon Maui. For the month, we did have 89 deep wells active, 15 down for repair, which is enough higher than we'd like to see it. We have 8 that are down hard, have been in that status for quite some time. And then we have the 2 that are secured for PFAS and 6 on standby. Tumon Maui well production has remained fairly steady throughout the month, no major issues there. With regard to our distribution system, we're holding at 94.5% operability at all of our pump stations, on average northern, central, and southern. No big issues there. However, on the distribution side, you will see that we did have some issues in southern reservoirs. You may recall at our last meeting, we were coming out of some issues that we had with regard to the heavy weather and the storms that caused depletion of reservoirs both north and south. Then we recovered towards the beginning of the month, and it wasn't until the end of the month, around the 22nd, 23rd, we started to see heavy weather again that affected several things. Ugam was intermittently on and off during that time because of high turbidity levels in the river. That caused a steady depletion of the Ugam reservoir. And then in addition to that, we did have an issue with power supply at Pago Bay booster pump station, which caused all the downstream reservoir levels to drop. So you can see that that resulted in a fairly significant drop in our southern reservoir storage, which we then were able to recover once we got all of those issues resolved. So it was a combination of heavy weather and the generator issue that finally got resolved, and we're back humming along.
Out of curiosity, Miguel, are we still purchasing a lot of water from the Navy?
We are purchasing water from the Navy. I'd say would be less than historical levels, but not as low as it has been.
Okay.
But we still are purchasing
Okay.
a significant amount from the Navy. We're trying to keep our costs in line, and so far we've been able to do a fairly decent job of that. But we do keep the Santa Rita Springs online, and that has helped us, and we, in instances, have sent water from Ugam across Cross Island Road, and we're sending more northern water along Cross Island Road. However, we do have those occasional issues which disrupt that supply.
Are you building a new reservoir out at Ugam too?
Yes, we are.
So we have one reservoir right now.
We have 1 2 million gallon reservoir.
And are you going, so you're adding another
We're doubling
second?
that, and then we'll take the
The existing
one right
reservoir
now, and
out
then
for,
take it down to inspect and
do you inspect
repair.
them? Okay, good. Well, just know, it's good to know that we're moving in a direction where we're able to service our customers in the southern end. Okay. Anything else?
No. On the wastewater side, nothing significant to note here. Our cleaning targets have been met, or close to met for the month, and booster pump station operability has stayed the same as it did last month. We're close to 89% operable. We still have some issues that we need to resolve with inventory and pump replacements, which we are working on. Perhaps more significant is on the wastewater treatment. You will see that for Hagania wastewater treatment plant, our sludge output has, there's no sludge output for the month of September.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we're not producing any, it just means that our equipment is down at the plant, and so we've been having to transport sludge to Agate Santa Rita for processing and disposal. So a little change in operations, a bit more costly for us. It's not the way we prefer to do it. However, we did get the parts in yesterday, and so the team is currently working on getting the centrifuges back up and running at the Agate plant.
Okay.
One other item to note, we did, because of the supply issues, the global supply issues, we did have disruption to the supply of chemicals for the wastewater treatment plants. So we've taken measures to try and be frugal with our existing supply. However, by the time we have the CCU meeting, we will likely have run out of chemicals for the Northern and Agana plants, and we don't anticipate that we will receive any until the first week of November. We have notified US EPA about the disruption to the supply chain. They indicated that they understood. We are closely monitoring our performance, and we're looking into alternative supplies to see if we can get them. We have a lead on some chemical out of Korea, but we don't know if we're going to be able to get that. And the other thing that we are doing is trying to modify our operations to increase detention time in order to improve performance at the Agana plant. So we're taking the steps that we can. We've notified EPA about the problem and the steps that we're taking, and they seem to be okay with that.
How are you doing with the northern plant upgrade? Are we doing that?
We are doing well. The number of craft labor that are working on the project over the last several months has increased slightly through use of some contract labor, but we hope to keep it maintained, and with the levels that we currently have, the contractor sees no further labor or no diminishing of that labor force. So the original contract completion date is the end of December 2021. Because of the COVID shutdowns and other delays, a few months ago that the updated construction schedule showed completion in the April-May timeframe of 2022. So the schedule has slipped a few months. OEA has been made aware. There has not been an official change order request to extend the schedule as of yet, but it's coming. But given all of the difficulties that the contractor has experienced with both the discovery of remains on the site, the archaeological issues affecting the site, the labor issues and the shutdowns of their barracks because of COVID, all of that, I think we're doing pretty well, all those things considered, in a few months of slippage on the schedule was not planned, and obviously not preferred, but it is something that we were anticipating we would have to deal with.
Because of all the supply chain disruptions, I think in the future you're going to have to start stocking a little more chemicals. Normally, you might consider.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
No. that essentially is the highlights. All the other, we did have nothing significant to report on Guam on the compliance update. Nothing changes on our court order status of completion, but you'll note that there were a little more SSOs in the month of September than in prior months, and it was due primarily to all the heavy weather.
I didn't see any real, I didn't notice SSOs in Ganya or Tabuni where I used to see them, but I did see some in Baragata. You used to have a problem on Route 10, I think.
Yes, that was an issue in the most recent heavy raids.
Well, keep working on it. Someday we'll get the water systems over there.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Anything else? Colleen, you want to, real quick?
Thank you, sir. The finance group is working to finalize the year-end financial statements to turn into the auditors next week. But preliminarily, we believe we'll be ending the year with our revenues at about 101 million and our operating expenses at 86 million, which gives us operating earnings of about 16 million and our debt service coverage of 1.29. We are doing a search for our liabilities to make sure that our expenditures are complete. Last year, we had a couple of invoices that we weren't able to identify until later in the year, so we want to make sure that when we submit the accounts to our auditors that we did our due diligence to make sure that we completed the search. That's all I had.
When we work together at GDOE, what happens to prior year obligations? Do we have anything like that?
So,
I don't hear of this.
no, so what happens is if expenditures, if it's based on the recognition of expenditures. So if invoices, if services are rendered and supplies received in FY22, then it becomes part of the FY22 expenditures.
So when do you expect to close your audit?
So we're planning to send the 9/30 balances on Monday to the auditors, and we're hoping to get the work substantially done before the end of the year. But March technically is the deadline, but we hope to beat that. We do have a status update with the OPA in November, so we should have more information.
Be driven by the rate study.
The audit?
The year-end financials.
How much of the rate study is going to be determined by the year-end financial? Not necessarily. Remember, we were supposed to get this done prior to the start of this fiscal year, so the information that has already been provided is sufficient. We don't anticipate that the additional 1 month of additional data is going to make a material difference to the rate relief that we've requested.
Yeah, Georgetown has already done our 11th month financials.
Our money has been received?
She has confirmed that it has been set aside. DOA has confirmed that it's there for us, but they have indicated that they will not transfer it to us until the rate case is adjudicated. Which is, it's okay with us because we had anticipated recognizing what we could as in later years. We have what we need for this fiscal year. And we were worried about the debt service coverage as the year ended, and we're okay.
That's what I was going to say. We're okay for the debt service coverage?
1.29.
1.29. Very close. 1.25.
But, I will point out that it has been in no small measure due to the finance team's control of our expenses, and as much as that pains ops, they've done a good job at trying to keep their expenses down because they know we're in this situation. So it's been a group effort, and the fact that we are above the 1.25 and at 1.29, everybody should feel relieved that that's the case, but I don't want to create the impression that that means we don't need to move forward with the rate relief that we've requested. We've deferred a lot of maintenance. We've not expended perhaps as much as we should have in some of our inventory, but we've done what we need to do in order to protect the financial integrity of the company, and I think that's a tribute to Tong and her team's performance, as well as to the AGM ops and his team.
Okay, any other questions?
No.
We have a recommendation from our legal counsel to go into executive session. This is on page 163. It's a motion to recess. No motion to recess and go into executive session. Okay. Is there a second to that?
Or staff attorney or legal counsel for executive session can't be here till 9:30.
Yes.
Okay. Can't be here until 9:30?
We scheduled for 9
Yeah.
because we weren't sure how long this part was going to take.
But he said 9:30 to you, right?
This is the...
No.
The court report.
Oh, the court reporter?
Yeah.
So, go on.
Shall we recess, or I hate to inconvenience?
Yeah, or we don't, there's a second, we need to vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're in recess.
What's
We're waiting 50 minutes?
9:30?
If he's on Zoom, he can attend via Zoom.
I wasn't expecting to hear. I'm sorry, we forgot to introduce it. I should have said something. Can you track down the numbers for the percentage increase?
Where's our legal counsel?
Well, she's on Zoom.
She's on standby.
She's on standby. She's gonna be online because
She's caring for a family member who's COVID positive.